seen me do so far is break down the sheet of melamine. You can get this at any Home Depot, Lowe's, whatever. This is just a rough breakdown. All I did was use my track saw, break it into manageable pieces. That way I can move it over to my table saw, get much more accurate cuts, and make sure everything is the exact same. Once we get all those pieces cut, this melamine is going to become the form for our concrete table. And pro tip, if you're cutting melamine or any thin veneered plywood, there's some painter's tape on the top. All circular saws are an undercut, which means when the tooth comes out at the top, that's why you'll normally get a bunch of tear out on the top. If you put some painter's tape on there, it keeps everything a little more intact, makes everything look a little better, and might save you some time sanding later or ruining your veneer completely. So really the only difficult part about building this form is I decided that I didn't want the edges to be 90 degrees. So what I mean by that is most of the time when you see concrete pieces, you have the base and then it goes 90 degrees down the side. To me, it kind of makes it look a little chunky. So I'm gonna try something a little different on this one, and I put a 15-degree bevel on all the edges. So we're gonna cut these rails to the actual size, get everything fit up so the form's looking good, and we'll go from there. So clearly this isn't going as fast as I hoped it would, even in montage mode. So let's just do it the easy way. All right. Much better. All right, so the form is all done. It's looking good. It was a little trickier than I thought. So now you can kind of see what we're going for. So this is gonna be a 36-inch square concrete coffee table with one waterfall leg. The other leg over here is gonna be made out of steel. The cool caveat to this piece is that down here I'm actually gonna run rebar through this waterfall edge, and then once it's all cured, I'm gonna break that rebar out. Then I made this piece, which is gonna slide right across the front of here, pin tight to the back. That's gonna hold all the concrete into that waterfall edge, nice and stable. It still gives me an exposure down here so that I can screed everything and make it flat. But for now, I'm gonna clean this out really well, give it a good vacuum, put a layer of wax down, put caulk all along the seams just to seal everything up, and then we'll go from there. So now let's get to work and we'll add in a nice little caulk block.
Go bitch!
All right, so I actually learned something there that I want to share with everyone. I want this to be a very, very small round over so I don't have to touch it a whole lot. But since I severely overcompensated with my first caulk, I actually ended up going down through the sizes to get out most of the waste. And I realized it's not the size of the tool, it's how you use it. So I worked down through all the tools until I finally got to the second smallest one to get to the reveal that I wanted. Because no matter what anyone says about caulk lines, size matters. Now that those angles are bent, I can just mark these so I can cut them on the bandsaw, and that way they'll be the perfect width to go across the table. All right, it's time, most important part of the build. Getting ready to pour the concrete. So just to help me, I've made a couple marks on the inside of the form that are 3/4 of an inch up. This is just gonna help me give a gauge to pour to that for that first layer. Then I can set in the rebar so I know I'm at pretty consistent depth. Make sure I agitate it enough to shake out as many of the bubbles as I can. That way the concrete is nice and settled. Then I can put in my rebar, make sure it's in a good spot, and pour the rest of the way up. I also have my backboard piece that once I get to a good depth, I'm gonna screw into this, and against the back, that's gonna hold all the concrete in this waterfall edge. Hopefully this all goes well, but now it's time to mix some concrete. This is gonna be a long process, so I think it's time for another montage.
One eternity later.
All right, so it's been 3 days since I poured the concrete. Yesterday I took off the outer edges of the mold just so that the concrete could get a more complete cure all the way through, and it looks great. I'm gonna get this loaded up on a dolly, bring it out into the driveway, throw some sandpaper on it, and go from there. So all we did was make a slurry mixture out of some Portland cement and some dye so that we could fill up these air bubbles and then flatten out everything else. All this is for is to get down the big areas of concern, just try to get everything a little more even. The problem with that after I just flattened this entire thing is I realized I'm about to bust a giant hole in the middle of this. So none of this matters yet. No big deal, we're just gonna let this dry. While it's drying, we're gonna work on the metal leg for the other side. So now let's bust out the metal gear and start doing some welding. All right, so now's the extreme moment of truth. Got all the holes drilled. I have no clue if it's gonna break easily, if it's gonna break hard. I'm partially expecting the first couple hits to just bounce right off and not do anything besides maybe a little chip, but we're gonna see. So let's get to it. All right, got the table upside down for the last time. We're gonna give it one last quick sanding, then we're gonna let it dry, vacuum it up, and then it's time to put some sealer on it. All right, so as you can see, I realized that I should actually do the top of the table first instead of the bottom. I had to flip it over by myself, which was really stupid, and I wish I would have filmed it because it was a nightmare. So to seal it, I'm gonna be using this Chang concrete sealer. I've used this stuff on every concrete project I've done, and it turns out great every single time. I'm gonna start putting this on. We're gonna do the top first, and then we're gonna flip it over and do the bottom probably tomorrow. So let's get to it. All right, so concrete table, last step. All we gotta do is add the leg. To do that, all we're gonna use is some Tapcons. But since this piece is only 1 3/4 inches thick, my biggest concern is drilling too far through the piece and cracking through the top. So in order to make sure we don't do that, I have a drill bit that I put some tape on to mark the exact depth that we need so I don't go past that. I'm just gonna take this nice and slow, be patient, make sure that I get the right depth, and then we're gonna throw our Tapcons in, flip this thing over, finished. So let's get to it. Well, worst case scenario just happened. While I was drilling into the leg, you probably saw it, that last bolt just slipped and blew a giant hole right through the middle of the top. So I was literally down to the last step. Now I need to figure out a way to fix this. Luckily the piece that broke out stayed pretty much intact and it can fit mostly back in there. I've been going at it with the Dremel, trying to clear out as much of the waste as I can to try to sit it as flat as possible. Then I'll glue it in there, fill that last little gap, and try to just really lightly grind it down, because if I grind it too much, the seal is gonna look different and it's gonna open up a whole can of worms. So try to fix this as best as possible and we'll go from there. But definitely a big blow, last final seconds of the project. I don't know, man, just sucks. It sucks when you spend so much time in something and on the final step you completely ruin it. We'll go from here. So I'm gonna keep attacking it with this Dremel and trying to make it sit flat, and then we'll figure out what's next. Alright, so I'm pretty sure crisis averted. I got super lucky that giant chunk broke out. I was able to Dremel everything out, get it sitting pretty flush, and then I mixed up some Portland cement with the same coloring that I used before, and it actually matched really well. I got the last coat of sealer on, everything is matching, it looks great. I initially thought that this was going to completely ruin the project. I thought I was going to have to start over, and it hurt. It was tough. So what saved me on this is I posted a story about this on my Instagram yesterday. If you guys don't follow, go ahead and check out Stave on Instagram. I post a lot of stories and everything like that that goes along with the daily builds, so you guys can kind of follow along, and I ask for advice all the time. And this is one of the cases where I got a ton of it. Luckily, everyone was super cool about it. I got a lot of good messages, and everyone pretty much said, it matches the table. What are you freaking out about? And they're right. It's hard for anything in this table to look like a mistake, especially when there's a huge hole in the front. So it was an exercise in not taking yourself too seriously and taking a step back from a project every once in a while. That being said, we're gonna flip this thing over for hopefully the last time, put the leg on with no problems this time. I'm gonna shave down the Tapcons just a little bit, just so they have a little bit more leeway than they did the first time. And this thing is finished. Don't test it. We're good. All right, please don't be broken. Please don't be broken. Please don't be broken. No cracks. No cracks. Alright guys, as always, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. This is easily one of my favorite builds. Obviously we had a couple problems along the way, but the way it turned out at the end is exactly what I hoped for. If you guys are curious about any of the tools that I use, there's affiliate links down below. Be sure to check those out. Make sure to like and comment down below. Be sure to subscribe if you guys want to see any of the other builds I got going on. Without talking anymore, because this is already my longest video, thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.